And we're back and we're moving into our final conversation for this morning, where we're going to be talking about a new workshop happening through the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And it's a professional and personal development course, and it's looking at emotional and behavioral assessments. We have with us Christopher Petch, who is the Membership Program Administrator and Project Assistant at the Chamber. And we have Vanessa Sandoval, who is the CEO for Kilo Solutions. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
guys. Good morning.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you guys for joining us this morning. This is sure to be a very interesting conversation.
Indeed.
Definitely.
So, Christopher, let's start there. Let's talk about why the Chamber was interested in introducing this to its membership.
Well, previously we used to host physical trainings to our members, but due to COVID-19, we're venturing into the virtual world. So this is how we came about redirecting our focus for our members. So we wanted to partner with the Connection Group, and this is not the first training we're having with them. We had 2 trainings previously, and now we are with this one. The Chamber is all about capacitating our members. You know, during these hardship times of the pandemic, we want to assist all HR personnel to work with their employees and the mental stress everyone is experiencing. You know, some employees are currently under quarantine and they are under mental stress. You know, they're not financially stable, or even you know, everything is going in their minds, you know, under quarantine, or even at work. You know, some employees are experiencing pay cut, the business is slow. So we want to help HRs, you know, to be able to manage that and help out their employees emotionally, you know, on how to behave at the workplace. So this is how we came about with the training.
Okay. Now, Vanessa, this is a topic I think that we could go on and on about. But
Definitely.
I want to start off with just kind of understanding the basics. When we think of human resources, you know, it's different in each institution. But how important is it that HR uses tools like this to understand the way an employee can and does function?
Wonderful, thank you. Sure.
Okay, let's pause for a minute there. I think we're having a bit of a connection issue, so it's not quite clear.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hello? Hear me?
Yeah, okay, now we're getting you. Let's try it again. Yeah. All right, so what I'm going to ask is if we could get you to rejoin the call, Vanessa, because there's a hiccup with the connection. So I'll have Christopher hold over a bit in setting the backdrop for it, and the interest levels, and we'll try to get you rejoined into the call. Christopher, go ahead and tell us, you know, since you started talking about behavioral assessments, you know, what's been the impression?
Hello?
Hi, Vanessa. Yeah, I think she's back.
Sorry. I'm actually in Guatemala, and I guess I'm having trouble with my connection.
Yeah. Oh, well, we're hearing you clearly now.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay,
now.
so I just changed to my hotspot. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfectly.
Great. Okay, sorry. So what I was saying is that every company has their own culture, their own way of doing everything, but where we all come together is that we're human. And behavioral intelligence, it's not something new, but it is something that we're recently talking about. We're not only talking about emotional intelligence, but we're also talking about behavior. What is behavior exactly? Well, everything that you see outside, everything that is observable, if a person is too loud, if a person is too hyper, if a person is slow talking. So all of these individualities, when we bring them together, into the workforce, we're able to understand a lot better each person. So it's not to have, a general knowledge of how everybody is acting. It's more of understanding every person in their own individuality. So that's where it comes together in the workforce. And human resources, they will benefit from these assessments, because if a person is aware, self-aware of their own flaws, of their own strengths, then it'll be a lot more easier for this person to communicate in a more assertive manner.
Okay. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be interested or are curious to know, what are the ways or how exactly that these sort of assessments or exercises can be carried out?
Well, it's very easy. I work with a company that they've been in the market for 40 years now. They're bound in Phoenix, Arizona. They work across the world, actually. Their assessments are translated in 40 different languages. More than 100,000 people have filled them out. So they have this platform that what we do is we send you a link. You can do the assessment in 20 minutes tops. It's amazing that just by describing yourself through what mostly describes yourself and what least describes yourself, just by that, they're able to understand profoundly what your behaviors are based on, what your emotional intelligence is based on. So this is how you get these assessments. You have the link, you go through the link for about 20 minutes, then immediately I get back the report and I can just send it back to you. So the next step for that is that we have a feedback session, a one-on-one. And because the assessments are very easy to understand, they're very user-friendly, but there's always something left to doubt. There's always something that you have to explain to the person to understand, because it's not easy to self-assess. It's not something that we're used to in a normal basis.
Yeah.
But because it's becoming vulnerable, it's telling people, these are my strengths, these are my flaws, and this is for you to understand me better. So when a company does bring this into their workforce, of course, there's a lot of benefits, but we do have to get through that navigating the vulnerability, because other people are going to be able to see yourself as an open book. But once we get there, it's amazing how people just open up themselves and they learn from each other. So it's
I can't help, I'm thinking, you use words like emotional for emotional intelligence. You're talking about vulnerability. These are words that we grew up in Belize, that in the traditional sense with the workplace, we are told, check your emotions at the door, You're not vulnerable, you just work. That's what you're there for. And so there are many companies, I know it's not the same across the board, but there are many companies who subscribe to kind of that traditional mentality, work is work. How do you help people to move beyond that traditional perspective?
That's the same saying we hear in Latin America. We hear it all over the world. Yeah. So, if you have a problem, just leave your coat of problems at the door, because, of course, if you come into the workforce, then you're just not going to even think about it. That is a big lie. It's a big myth. It's something that we grew up with, like you were saying. These are beliefs that we grew up with, but the more we learn about each other, the more we're able to debunk these beliefs. Yeah. So we're trying to move from leave your problems at the door to we're going to provide you with a sacred space where we are able to address these emotions, these issues. So when you do come back to the workforce, you're going to be a lot more cleaner. You'll be a lot more present with the rest of the people. Yeah. Actually, us as coaches, counselors, therapists, if we're okay, we're going to be able to serve in a better way. So it's good for us and it's ethical for us to discharge in our sacred space. So when we come back to our clients, we're able to be in a lot more cleaner space, and we're able to be there for the person that we have in front of us. So we're trying to change that belief from just leaving your problems at the door to we're going to have a moment where we're going to be able to take care of what you're feeling, and then you're going to be able to come to that moment of crisis in a much more present way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now it's a key, what you're talking about, and I know it's often described as hard skills and soft skills in the workplace. There's what you bring to the table with your whether it's degrees or experience and practical skills. And your soft skills can be, you're just a pleasant person to work with. It could be many different things. You adapt well, you're a great team player, or you contribute ideas in a particular way that helps with productivity. So it's about being able to allow companies to recognize the soft skills as well. Is that where we're leading?
Yes, exactly, because we need both of them. Right now, we're just becoming more accustomed to acknowledging that these soft skills are going to be present because, we are, us humans, we're one person, we're undividable. We can't, I know some people think that we can be one person in a personal level and another person in the workforce. But
they say compartmentalize. That's what you do.
Yeah, exactly. But in the end, it's only you. You're the same person everywhere. So the more you're able to acknowledge this, it'll help you be there for other people as well, like I was saying. Yeah. But other than that, these soft skills, now we've also come to understand that we're able to develop them and cultivate them at any age, either if we're 2 years old or we're 90. Wow. Because we're not, until we're dead, until the day that we die, we will not stop producing neurons. So every new thing that you do, if you go outside and exercise, if you have a very interesting and profound conversation, if you sit down and breathe and have a deep breathing to just decompress, all of these different dynamics, they rewire your brain. So this is where you tap into these soft skills. And like I said, we're able to develop them at any age. Before we thought that, okay, after you're 40, maybe most of us are around that age range. After you're 40, you're not able to produce any new neurons. But recent studies, like from 95 till date, we've seen that, and knowing a little bit more about our brain, we understand that we're able to cultivate any of these soft skills at any age. So that's good news for all of us that, we're growing up, we're all grown up, and we grew up with these limited beliefs that make us think maybe we're not able to understand or to learn new things, but we are, definitely.
Yeah. And if we look in the current context of being in the pandemic, I think that clearly this is where soft skills are saving some people, your ability to adapt, your ability to innovate. These are, skills that you can bring to the table that are more, personality driven and maybe had been overlooked at some point in the past. When you do these types of assessments, and as we bring it into the Belizean, to the members of the chamber, how do you explain to them how it will help them increase productivity in a very tough economic setting, and also make it a healthier workspace for people as well?
Yeah, that's a great question, because as Belize and in Latin America or in different parts of the world, it's not something that we're used to yet. Yeah. But I see a lot of interest in the topic. So just by mentioning emotional intelligence, it's like, okay, so what is this about? What is this about my emotions? And once we start talking about it and we see that us facilitators as well, we're able to become vulnerable with them, because the first thing I do is I show my audience my assessments, my own results, because it's all about being vulnerable. It's all about understanding this is me, and this is what I'm bringing to the table. Once the group starts to see this, they start understanding that they can also show their own assessments. They can also show their results, and it's okay. Mm-hmm. And what the feedback that I've gotten is that they're very grateful, because these assessments, it gives you a light within. It helps you see yourself in another way, like in an X-ray, black and white. It's not something subjective that somebody told you about. It's a self-assessment. Nobody else fills it out but yourself. So these people are very grateful, because it gives you tools for your personal life and also for your professional life. So that's the way that we navigate, but it's a very delicate matter. It's not, not everybody just openly accepts it, but once we start asking some questions, we help them see that it is a safe space, that they won't be judged by what they're bringing to the table, that the company is investing, because these tools, they're not cheap, they're not super expensive, but they do have a cost. And it's very important that we don't only use them at first, at the beginning, but also if we come back to these tools, because, for example, there's an assessment that it's 45 pages long. The report is 45 pages long. Wow. It's pretty long, but you have to, tackle one thing at a time. You can't expect, okay, am I going to be more empathic? Then am I going to be more self-aware? You can't work on everything at the same time. We have to take it into chunks. So first, we're going to start with self-awareness, understand ourselves a lot better, see if we interrupt too much. I don't know if there's some people out there that are used to interrupting other people before they finish their sentences. That shows little self-control, and that's precisely what I started to work on. Stop interrupting other people, wait until they finish their sentences, stop trying to finish their sentences. And this brings you to then moving on with emotional intelligence, which is motivation, empathy, and social skills. So first you start with yourself, and then you move on to others. Mm-hmm. So once we have this, the group dynamic, they benefit from all of this communication.
Mm-hmm. And Christopher, I think I saw you nodding your head a bit earlier when Vanessa said that there was a great interest in this topic. So I'm wondering, what's the sort of feedback that you've gotten when we speak about topics like this? What's the feedback been like from your observation?
Actually, we have some members who are already inquiring about it. They're actually interested of the actual assessments. So there is an intuition from our members, and we're hoping we can get more after the end of this session. So we're hoping to have as much members, and also those who are not members of the chamber, we invite them to come on board as well. We have several sessions up to November, so we want to invite them, to take advantage of these sessions and improve your workplace and your working environment at your work.
Now, how do you expect this to help members? What are you saying to them as to what the benefits are here?
At the end of the day, you will be able to manage your workplace. Recently we had session with Social Security. So we have sessions with governmental organizations. We partner, how to deal with your emotional stress. So everything is about the working environment. At the end of the day, you want to be more productive because of COVID-19, competition is high. So you want to be the number one out there. So that's how we want to better your workplace and your productivity with everyone, even with your customers,
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. Talking about self and others. We're going to help the companies look at their teams as individuals, as the person who they are, and then bring them together in the group, and for them to work together as a group and to understand each other better as a group. That's part of the major benefits. Yeah. People are going to turn back to see themselves, and then they're going to go and see each other again, and opening their eyes to new possibilities.
And you talked earlier about group dynamics, and I know, if anyone has done organizational training before, they've definitely talked about or done exercises, they call them the team building exercises. How different is what you are offering from what people may know as traditional team building?
Well, part of the dynamics that we work on is starting with self. First, the person does the evaluation, the self-assessment. Then we break them up into pairs. There is this great exercise for active listening. It's called mindful conversation. What we do is we pair up people. So first one person talks, and then the other one listens, and then they switch their roles. So by this time, they're sharing with a partner. Then they come back to the group, and we reflect as a group, and then we have another group dynamic. So it's not only about, understanding as in team building, as in using your body, using different competencies or skills that we're trying to keep on developing. It's more of coming into yourself, going with your partner, and then going into the group. So this is how we start to differentiate. Okay. We also include different dynamics, as in mindfulness, as in deep breathing, because once our brain is hijacked by an emotion, it won't be able to think so rationally. So once we start deep breathing and we calm down, we're more able to understand what is truly going on and not bringing many other situations to the table. So this is a little bit how we do things differently.
And we don't even have to think about many different situations. Right now, a lot of people are struggling, whether it is because of the direct effects of the pandemic, losing someone, losing a job, losing income, or losing the certainty or control that they may be accustomed to, losing plans that they had for the future, or this year at least. And so there is already a lot to manage at this time. Now, some workplaces can very easily just kind of leave people to handle on their own. But if you are able to have an understanding as to how people are coping, how do you turn that into productivity? How do you turn that into a positive thing where people individually in your organization are recognizing how they are coping or how they're not coping?
Because vulnerability, like we were talking about before, it's not something we're used to talking in a normal basis, especially in the work environment. But what we do as well is that we address certain situations as they come up. Yeah. So the difference is to bring something theoretical, to do some exercise that it's pure theory. And it's very different and a lot more profound in their development when we tackle the situations as they come. Mm-hmm. For example, in psychology, I don't know if anybody has heard of the pink elephant. When we have a pink elephant in the room, it's because, we're trying to look at each other all over the pink elephant, but we're not acknowledging that there's a pink elephant in the room. Mm-hmm. So that's also where vulnerability comes in. But we tackle uncertainty as well, because we're dealing with the issues that they're living with right now, on the go, not something that might happen in the future, but something that they're struggling or coping with in this moment. So that makes a huge difference. We're tackling the things that are actually going on, not something that we're preparing for in a crisis. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Now, and looking at dealing with or understanding more about the emotional health and coping mechanisms of people within the workplace. We all have different ways of coping. Some people shut down, some people are overwhelmed with anxiety. Are you hoping that perhaps the culture of understanding where people are will lend to, you mentioned it before, just having that empathy towards each other? And again, because businesses are businesses, how does this affect their bottom line in the end if you do so?
Well, where it does, besides people being able to understand each other better in a workforce, it comes down to productivity in the sense of communication, in the sense of less misunderstandings. We're able to, okay, so I saw that you didn't say hello this morning. Is there a reason for this happening? These types of conversations start happening a lot more in the workforce, and this helps to productivity because you're going to tackle the things as they are. You're not going to be tackling them with everything that you thought about, because that's kind of like what we do. Yeah. When we're in crisis, we bring something that came up yesterday, something that came up a month ago, and the least that we're talking about is the problem or the situation that we have at hand. Yeah. So this helps to clear out a lot of misunderstandings because people are understanding themselves better and they keep on doing it on the go. They keep on doing it throughout the whole program once we work with programs. But it's so important that these assessments, they're not just done and then, just just take them out. What we need to do is keep on going back to them, because every time you come back to reflect, you will discover new things. You will see outside of yourself and say, oh my God, okay, so maybe I'm talking too fast. That's maybe a reason why other people aren't understanding the message that I'm trying to bring to them, you know, because it's different when we validate the message than if we say, did you understand me? Oh yeah, we understood. You know, usually in meetings, everybody's like, oh yeah, we understood. But then when you come back to the activity or to the task at hand, you realize that they did not understand what you were trying to bring across. Yeah. So it's much more different once we start understanding difficult conversations, how to navigate through them, and also if we validate that message back.
And what's been the feedback that you typically get when you work with different organizations?
Oh my God. In the end, I have not had one person that, maybe a couple of people say, this doesn't describe me that much. But after we have the feedback session, they're like, oh, okay, so now I see. You know, it's what we do see is a lot of aha moments. And that is beautiful to witness, because one of our core beliefs in the Connection Group, which is our company in Belize, what we work with is one-on-one. We truly believe that each person is their own expert on themselves more than anybody else outside of that person. So since we believe that the person is truly the expert, the most expert on themselves, then if we ask certain questions, powerful questions, the same person is able to come to these aha moments on themselves, by themselves. What we do as coaches, counselors, we just go tweaking with little guides or questions, but we never give them the answer. It's up to them to realize and to understand their own answers. Yeah. So that makes also a big difference.
All right. And Christopher, tell us about how people can participate. It'll be a Zoom workshop, right?
Yes, it will be via Zoom. And if you want to register, what you usually do is for you guys to contact us via our email. That is bcci@belize.org, or feel free to send us a WhatsApp via 614-3138. When you send us your information, then we will send you your bill, because it's only $67.50 GST included for so much information. And afterwards, we will send you the link to register via Zoom. The time is October 22nd, and it will be from 9:30 to 11 in the morning.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like it's definitely going to be an interesting session. We hope that people take advantage of the opportunity. And once again, as Christopher noted, you can register for the workshop by contacting the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Yep, you can do that through the website.
I just want to add on more. Yes, I just want to remind our members that some can receive 25% discount. And if you register more than 3 persons, for those who are not distinguished or President Circle members, we will still grant you a 5% discount. So as members, you guys are entitled to receive discounts. And for those who are not members, then we invite you to come on board and enjoy the many benefits that we have to offer to the private sector.
Okay. Well, Christopher and Vanessa, we want to thank you guys for coming in and sharing your insight and perspective on this topic, which I'm sure is going to, a lot of people are going to be wanting to take advantage of now that they are informed. So thank you guys for the conversation this morning.
Thank you so much for having us. It was great to see everybody in Belize. Have a great day.
You too, and stay safe, right?
Thank you. You too.
We're going to go ahead and take that final break now, and when we come back, we'll have our wrap-up, so stay tuned.